Hello. This is my second, uh, no, my eighth episode in reading the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. And today's episode is going to be on Thor: The Dark World. A lot of people like to say, "Oh, this movie is really bad," but no. I think this movie is pretty good. So don't have that much of a problem reading the script. It's not that long anyway. So. About time we just read this. Tomorrow I'm going to read The Winter Soldier. The movie is better. Let's go. Odin. Long before the birth of light, there was darkness, and from that darkness came the Dark Elves. Millennia ago, the most ruthless of their kind, Malekith, sought to reform our universe back into one of the eternal night. Is that how you pronounce it? Malekith? Malekith?
Time. It's there. This device will make you protect me. It's not costly. What does he? No, with all that power, I thought you did.
I just need to hope he says his name in this scene.
That just means we have to keep Malekith busy for ink.
What was it?
Convergence will be in full effect in 7 minutes. That just means we have to keep Malekith busy.
Malekith. Alright. Just took a minute of time. Long before the birth of light, there was darkness, and from that darkness came the Dark Elves. Millennia ago, the most ruthless of their kind, Malekith, sought to transform our universe back into one of eternal night. Malekith is looking up at the Convergence. Such evil was possible through the power of the Ether, an ancient force of infinite destruction, the Ether is shown. The noble armies of Asgard, led by my father, King Bor, waged a mighty war against these creatures. Curse. Malekith, Asgard's forces are upon us. The Bifrost opens and Bor steps out with Asgardian reinforcements. Send the curse. Some soldiers crush objects in their hand and become giant Hulk-like creatures. As the 9 worlds converged above him, Malekith could at last unleash the Ether. Malekith and Curse walk up to the Ether. However, the Bifrost opens and Asgardian warriors attack Malekith, whom he kills. The Bifrost disappears, just as Malekith tries to get the Ether, but it is no longer there. But Asgard ripped the weapon from his grasp. Without it, the Dark Elves fell. With the battle all but lost, Malekith sacrificed his own people in a desperate attempt to lay waste to Asgard's army. Malekith. Their deaths will mean our survival. This war is far from over. He and Curse get onto his ship and escape without notice, while destroying other ships in the process. The ships kill some of the Asgardians. Malekith was vanquished, and the Ether was no more, or so we were led to believe. Sire, the Ether, shall we destroy it? Bor, only if we could, but its power is too great. Bury it deep, somewhere no one will ever find it. Loki. Hello, Mother. Have I made you proud? Please, don't make this worse. Define worse. Enough. I will speak to the prisoner alone. Loki laughs. I really don't see what all the fuss is about. Do you not truly feel the gravity of your crimes? Wherever you go, there is war, ruin, and death. I went down to Midgard, the rule of the people of Earth, as a benevolent god, just like you. We are not gods. We are born, we live, we die, just as humans do. Give or take 5,000 years. All of this because Loki desires a throne. It's my birthright. Your birthright was to die as a child, cast out onto a frozen rock. If I had not taken you, and you would not be here now to hate me. If I am for the axe, then for mercy's sake, just swing it. It's not that I don't see. It's not that I don't love our little task. It's just I don't love them. Odin, Frigga is the only reason you are alive, and you'll never see her again. You will speak the rest of your days in the dungeons. And what of Thor? You'll make that witless oaf king while I rot in chains. Thor must strive to undo the damage you have done. He will bring order to the 9 realms, and yes, he will be king. Cut to Vanaheim. Sif, the 3 warriors, and Thor are fighting in a battle. I've got this completely under control. Is that why everything's on fire? Sif catches an arrow that was aimed with Thor, with her shield. You're welcome. Accordion arrives. All yours. Hello. I accept your surrender. The soldiers laughed. Thor swings his hammer and crushes Accordion. Anyone else? Perhaps next time we should start with the big one. Keep moving. Come on, keep moving. And go ahead of me. Don't you turn around. Where do we go next? Thor, Hogun. The peace is nearly won across the 9 realms. You should stay here. Be with your people, where your heart is. Asgard can wait. You have my thanks. As you have mine, Heimdall, when you're ready. Cut to Asgard. Is Vanaheim secure? As are Nornheim and Rhea. Though our work would have gone more quickly with you at the fort. You think I'm a piece of bread that needs to be buttered so heavily. That was not my intent. For the first time since the Bifrost was destroyed, the 9 realms are at peace. They are well reminded of our strength, and you have earned their respect and gratitude. Thank you. Nothing out of order except your confused and distracted heart. This isn't about Jane Foster, Father. Human lives are fleeting. They are nothing. You are better served by what lies in front of you. Camera briefly turns to Sif. I'm telling you this not as the All-Father, but as your father. You are ready. The time has come for you to take the throne. Embrace and celebrate what you've done. Join your warriors. Eat and drink. Revel in their celebration. At least pretend to enjoy yourself. As they celebrate, he watches others enjoying themselves. It's obvious his heart is not in it. He walks over to the balcony to join Sif. I remember you celebrated the Battle of Harrigan so much that you nearly started a second. Well, the first was so much fun. They both smile. Take a drink with me. Surely the All-Father could have no further task for you tonight. No, this is one I set myself. It is not gone unnoticed that you disappear each night. There are 9 realms. Future King of Asgard must focus on more than one. I thank you for your sword, and for your counsel, good Lady Sif. He turns and walks off. In London, Jane is on a date with a man named Richard. Jane is looking at her menu, feeling awkward when Richard slides a napkin in front of her with the word hi written on it. Richard, hi. Jane, hi. So what's the story with you? Why does there have to be a story? There's no story. You spend the first 10 minutes of our date hiding behind a menu that has 3 choices in it. It's either chicken, vegetarian, or fish, Jane. I think there's a story, and I'm thinking the story involves a guy. It's complicated. Is he still around? No, he went away. I've been there. The going away. It's hard. I'd been seeing a woman, and she took a job in New York. Eventually, the distance killed it. And the fact that she kept sleeping with other dudes. No. Oh, so many. Darcy walks up to James and Richard's table. Hi, can we have some wine, please? Sure, I'd love some. Richard, this is Darcy. It's Darcy. What are you doing here? Darcy grabs a chair from the opposite table and drags it across to their table. Oh, hello. Darcy sits to Jane and helps herself to a piece of bread and starts buttering it. So I show up to work at the lab / your mom's house, fully expecting you to be moping around in your pajamas eating ice cream, obsessing about, oh, you know who. But you're not. You're wearing lady clothes. You even showered, didn't you? You smell good. Is there a point to all of this? Because there really has to be a point to all of this. Right. You know that scientific equipment you don't look at anymore? You might want to start looking at it now. She gives Jane the gadget. This is the reason we came all the way out here. It's malfunctioning. That's what I said. Jane starts hitting the gadget on the table. That's what I did. But you just need to hit a little more scientific. I'm sure it's nothing. Yeah. Jane hands the gadget back to Darcy. It didn't look like nothing. It looks like the readings that Eric was rambling about. Our friend Eric went banana balls. What kind of expression is that? Jane Foster. He's not interested. I'm not interested. Time for you to go now. Okay. Jane rises and drags her chair back to where she got it from, then turns and walks off. Short but sweet. She needs help. They start looking at their menus again, but Jane looks distracted by what Darcy told her. I think I'm going to have the sea bass. Sea bass. Yeah, sea bass is good. Sea bass, 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 sea bass. Brings me back. Jane, maybe you should stop saying sea bass and go out to your friend. This was so fun. You know, I'll just stay here and say sea bass alone. Jane enters Darcy's car parked outside their restaurant. And I hate you. What? I thought he was cute. Shut up and drive. As Darcy pulls out and drive off, they're driving through London, and suddenly Jane is shocked to see a guy in the back seat. Who's he? He's my intern. You have an intern? Oh yeah. Hello, Dr. Foster. It's a great honor to be working with you. Right, I have to call Eric. Oh, take a right. Left. I have totally mastered driving in London. Jane Foster. Hi, Eric. It's me again. Where are you? I came here because you said you were onto something and then vanished. A news report is then shown where Selvig is naked and running around Stonehenge while the police try to catch him. I'm here at Stonehenge for what has been an interesting unfolding of events today. The police reported the scene shortly after 11 a.m. this morning. After a seemingly harmless rambler approached the area and started to strip naked and effectively terrorize tourists there with scientific equipment, while shouting that he was trying to save them, the man, later identified as astrophysicist Dr. Eric Selvig, has been called in for questioning by police. Darcy pulls up outside an old abandoned factory and they get out of the car. Come on, this is exciting. Look, the intern is excited. Ian. Do you want the phase meter? No. Bring the phase meter. She throws the car keys at Ian and starts walking off. The toaster looking thing. I know what a phase meter is. As Jane walks toward the factory, Darcy calls her on her cell phone, which starts playing an annoying music tone. How do I change the ringtone on this thing? An astrophysicist with 3 degrees should be able to change her own ringtone. Why are you calling me? I didn't want to shout. To Ian, who's following by nurh. Intern, the entrance is this way. Ian. My name's Ian. They enter the old factory. As they enter the old factory, they hear a noise. I'm not getting stabbed in the name of science. She holds up her hands and shouts. It's okay, we're Americans. Is that supposed to make them like us? Suddenly they hear some kids' voices. Make it go away. Shh. 3 kids come out of their hiding place. Oh, they're kids. Are you the police? No, we're scientists. Well, I am. Thanks. We just found it. Can you show us? The 3 kids lead Jane, Darcy, and Dee into a truck. One of the boys touches the truck and pushes it up with 2 fingers. They watch in amazement as the truck floats in midair. That doesn't seem rigged. The kids then take them to a stairwell in the factory. One of them drops a bottle down and they watch as the bottle disappears into the thin air. Where'd it go? The girl points her finger up. They look up to see the bottle reappear above them and continuously fall and reappear in the same spots in the air. That's incredible. Jane picks up an empty can and drops it down and it does the same thing. It disappears into thin air, but when they look up to watch it reappear, nothing happens. What happened? Sometimes they come back. Sometimes they don't. Darcy Lewis. I want to throw something. Jane, give me your shoe. Jane picks up her jacket. Her gadgets look at the readings. I haven't seen these readings since New Mexico. Jane gives Darcy a meaningful look before rushing off. Don't touch anything. Darcy, to Ian, give me your shoe. As Jane walks away from the others and watches them on the stairwell, dropping objects down and watching them disappear and reappear, she sees, looks at her gadget and sees the anomaly is nearby and starts walking off. Walking stairwell. Ian drops the car keys and they watch it disappear. It is down and they watch it disappear, but when they look up, it doesn't reappear. Are those the car keys? Jane follows readings on her gadget, which takes her to another part of the factory. As the readings get stronger, a gust of wind pushes her forward. She finds herself teleported in another realm. Darcy. She looks around and finds the column holding the ether. She reaches her hand out and suddenly the ether enters her body and she passes out. At the same time, we see Malekith being awakened in a ship, knowing that the ether has been found. The ether awakens us. The convergence returns. Back in Asgard, Thor walks up to the bridge towards Heimdall. You're late. Merriment can sometimes be heavier burden than battle. Then you're doing one of them incorrectly. Thor chuckles. How fair are the stars? Still shining. From here I can see the 9 realms and 10 trillion souls. Heimdall looks at Thor for a moment. Do you recall what I told you of the convergence? Yes, the alignment of the worlds. It approaches, doesn't it? The universe hasn't seen this marvel since before my watch began. Few can sense, even few can see it. A world that's infected can be dangerous. It is truly beautiful. They look out into the stars. Thor, I see nothing. Or perhaps that is not the beauty you seek. How is she? She's quite clever, your mortal. She doesn't know it yet, but she studies convergence as well. Even Heimdall stops as he senses something. What? I can't see her. We see Jane being infected by the ether. After Jane is infected with the ether, she reawakens in the factory. She runs to find Darcy has called the police. Jane, where the hell were you? Tell me you didn't call the police. What was I supposed to do? Not call the police. I was freaking out. You call the cops, they tell the feds. Next thing you know, we have S.H.I.E.L.D. crawling over this 50 Area 1 thing in the place. Jane, we had a stable gravitation anomaly. We had unheated access. Our only competition was 10 years old. Jane, you were gone for 5 hours. What? Suddenly the weather turns. It starts raining and they hear the sound of thunder. Jane looks around her and puts her hand out. That's weird. They see raining, but it's not raining on Jane and Darcy. There is an invisible barrier protecting them. Suddenly Jane sees Thor, standing a few feet away from them. Jane hands her gadget to Darcy and starts walking towards Thor. As she walks away, the invisible barrier follows her, and the rain starts falling on Darcy. Typical. As Jane walks towards Jane. As she reaches him, and suddenly she slaps him hard in the face. Sorry, just needed to make sure you were real. It's been a very strange day. Well, I am. Jane. Suddenly she slaps him again. Where were you? Where were you? Heimdall cannot see you. I was right here where you left me. I was waiting, and then I was crying, and then I went out looking for you. You said you were coming back. I know, but the Bifrost was destroyed. The 9 realms erupted into chaos, wars were raging, marauding hordes were pillaging. I had to put an end to the slaughter. As excuses go, that's not terrible. But I saw you on TV. You were in New York. Jane, I have fought to protect you from the dangers of my world. I believe that fate brought us together, Jane. I don't know where you were or what happened. But I do know this. What? I know. You do? Do what? They lean in and just as about to kiss. Darcy interrupts him, referring to the rain. Jane. Hey, is that you? Thor looks up and the rain stops. Now we're kind of in the middle of something. I'm pretty sure we're getting arrested. Jane Foster to Thor. Hold that thought. She turns and runs toward the police. Look, you're still all muscly and everything. How's space? Space is fine. Jane walks over to the police. Excuse me? Are you Jane Foster? Yes. Do you know this man? He's my intern. My intern's intern. This is private property and you are trespassing. The lot of you'll have to come with me. The police officer goes to grab Jane's arm, but suddenly the force of the ether creates a powerful force, which pushes the officer and everything else away. Thor runs toward Jane, who's lying on the ground. Jane, you alright? What just happened? The other police officer approaches Jane apprehensively. Put your hands on your head. Step back. The woman is unwell. She's dangerous. So am I. Talking to his radio. Requesting armed response officers to the scene. Thor grabs Jane and pulls her closer to him. Hold on to me. What are you doing? Suddenly the Bifrost opens and Thor takes Jane to Asgard. Darcy looks up as they disappear. Darcy, holy shit. Thor and Jane travel through the Bifrost and enter Asgard, where Heimdall is guarding. As always. Jane looks around her in amazement. We have to do that again. She notices Heimdall for the first time. Hi. Welcome to Asgard. Returning to their homeland, Svartalfheim, Malekith kneels and grabs a handful of dust from the ground. Malekith, look at my legacy, Algrim. I barely remember the time before light. Our survival will be your legacy. The Asgardians will suffer, as we have suffered. I'll reclaim the ether, restore our world, and put an end to this poisonous world. As the Asgardian physicians study Jane and the force within her. What's that? Be still. Thor watches with one of the nurses as they examine Jane. This is not of Earth. What is it? We do not know. But she will not survive the amount of energy surging within her. The nurse walks away as Thor looks at Jane with worry. That's a quantum field generator, isn't it? It's a soul forge. Does a soul forge transfer molecular energy from one place to another? Yes. Jane looks at Thor and then whispers, It's a quantum field generator. Thor smiles at her. Odin enters the room as Thor looks onto Jane as she is being examined. My words are mere noises to you. That you ignore them completely? She is ill. She is mortal. Illness is their defining trait. Brought her here because we can help her. She does not belong here in Asgard anymore. Then goat belongs at a banquet table. Jane sits up and looks at Thor. Did he just... Who do you think you are? I am Odin, king of Asgard, protector of the Nine Realms. Oh well, I know very well who you are, Jane Foster. Jane turns to look at Thor. You told your dad about me? Something is within her, father. Something I have not seen before. Her world has its healers. They're called doctors. Let them deal with it. Guards, take her back to Midgard. As two guards approach Jane and go to grab her, suddenly the force within her sets off again, throwing the two guards aside. Do not touch her. He leans down and tenderly touches Jane. Jane, are you alright? Jane nods her head. Odin expects the energy force running through Jane's body and realizes it's ether. That's impossible. The infection, it's defending her. No, it's defending itself. Come with me. There are relics that predate the universe itself. What lies within her appears to be one of them. The 9 realms are not eternal. They had a dawn, as they will have a dusk. Odin chose Thor and Jane in an ancient book. But before the dawn of the dark forces, the dark elves reigned, absolute and unchallenged. Thor, reading from the book, born of eternal light. The dark elves comes to seal away your light. They were these stories mothers told us as children. Their leader, Malekith, made a weapon out of that darkness. It was called the Ether, while other relics often appeared as stones. The Ether is a fluid and ever-changing. It changes matter into dark matter and seeks out host bodies, drawing strength from their life force. Malekith sought to use the Ether's power to return the universe to one of darkness. But after eternities of bloodshed, my father Bor finally triumphed, ushering in the peace that lasted thousands of years. What happened? He killed them all. Are you certain? The Ether was said to have been destroyed with them, yet here it is. The Dark Elves are dead. Does your book mention how to get it out of me? No, it does not. Back in Svartalheim, in his ship, Malekith plots his vengeance against the Asgardians. Malekith. The realms will be aligned soon. Malekith takes out a knife and turns to Elgrim. You'll be the last of the cursed. Malekith stabs Elgrim in the stomach with his knife. Let my life be sacrificed, the same as our people. You'll become darkness, doomed to this existence until it consumes you. One of the dark elves places a molten rock in Malekith's hand, and Malekith places it inside Elgrim's stomach. And then no power of our enemies will stop me. I'll destroy their defenses and resurrect the universe. Malekith looks to one of his dark elves as he hears a mask. Fandral and Bolstag return to Asgard with several prisoners, including the masked Elgrim. Loki watches them from his cell as they come in. Odin continues to bring me new friends. How thoughtful. Frigga. The books I sent, do they not interest you? Loki turns and we see Frigga's in Loki's cell. Is that how I'm to while away eternity reading? I've done everything in my power to make you comfortable, Loki. Have you? Does Odin share your concern? Does Thor? It may be so inconvenient after me, them asking after me day and night. You know full well it was your actions that had brought you here. My actions. I was merely giving truth to the lie that I've been fed my entire life. That I was born to be a king. A king? A true king admits his faults. What of the lives you took on Earth? A mere handful compared to the number that Odin's taken himself. Your father. He is not my father. Then I am not your mother. Loki hesitates for a moment. You're not. Frigga smiles at him with tears in her eyes. Always so perceptive about everyone but yourself. She takes a step towards him and extends her hands. Loki tries to touch her hand, but her hand goes through hers, and we see that she's a hologram. Loki looks at Frigga with sadness, and her hologram disappears. Jin and Thor walk in Asgard. When you came for me, I knew I was in trouble. Well, Heimdall had lost sight of you. You were no longer on Earth. Well, how's that possible? I believe you were in between worlds. The 9 worlds travel within Yggdrasil, orbiting Midgard, in much the way your planet orbits the sun. Every 5,000 years, the worlds align perfectly. We call this convergence. She takes your hand and shoves her, by touching his palm to hers. During this time, the borders between worlds have become blurred. It's possible that you found one of these points. We're lucky that it remained open. Once the worlds pass out of alignment, the connection is lost. He leans closer and they kiss. I like the way you explained that. What's gonna happen to me? I'll find a way to save you, Jane. Your father said there was. My father doesn't know everything. Suddenly they are interrupted by Frigga. Don't let him hear you say that. Jane Foster, please meet Frigga, the Queen of Asgard, my mother. Jane, looking embarrassed quickly as he removes her hand from Thor's mother. Hi. In his cell, Algrim points the rock that Malekith had placed in his stomach, crushes it in his hand, transforming himself into a cursed. Oh. It's going to be a lot better when I read Ragnarok. Yeah. In his cell, Algrim pulls out the rock that Malekith had placed in his stomach. He crushes it in his hand, transforming himself into a curse. He breaks free and releases the other prisoners. Loki watches all of this from his cell. Then Algrim walks up to Loki's cell and he looks at Loki for a moment before turning and walking away. You might want to take the stairs to the left. Algrim turns, looks at Loki before walking away again. Outside they hear the prison alarm going off. The prisons. Loki. Go. I will look after her. Thor takes off this hammer. In the prison, Volstagg and Fandral enter the flight with the prisoners. It's as if they resent being imprisoned. There's no pleasing some creatures. As they continue to fight, Loki is sat calmly in his cell reading. Suddenly Thor enters and everyone turns to look at him. Return to your cells and further harm will come to you. You have my word. Suddenly one of the prisoners punches him in the face. Very well. You don't have my word. Thor punches him back and starts fighting with the other prisoners. Odin to his guards. Send a squadron to the weapons well. Defend at all costs. Seal the dungeon. $40. Odin. Frigga. Go. It's a skirmish. Nothing to fear. You've never been a very good liar. At that moment, Jane notices Sif as she walks past them. Take her to your chambers. I'll come for you when it's safe. You take care. Despite all that I have survived, my queen still worries over me. It is only because I worry over you that you have survived. Odin goes off. Frigga leads Jane away as she takes the sword from one of the guards. Listen to me now. I need you to do everything I ask and no questions. Yes, ma'am. What the hell was that? Yes, ma'am. As Heimdall is stood in his usual guarding post, he suddenly hears something, turns and he runs out onto the Bifrost Bridge. As Heimdall stood in his usual guarding post, he suddenly hears something, turns and runs onto the Bifrost Bridge. He jumps onto one of Malekith's ships, cloaked in invisibility, making it visible, and manages to send it crashing into the sea. But he soon finds out that a giant ship is behind him and releasing smaller ships to attack Asgard. Heimdall activates a shield to protect Asgard, but Algrim managed to deactivate it, sending a ship crash into the palace. After Malekith's ship has crashed into the palace, the Dark Elves start attacking the Asgardian soldiers and killing them all. Malekith leaves the ship and goes looking for Frigga and Jane, after which Odin arrives to find all the soldiers killed. Frigga. Malekith finds the tower where Frigga is hiding Jane and enters the room. Stand down, creature. You may still survive this. I have survived worse women. Who are you? I am Malekith, and I have what is mine. He strikes him in the face with her sword, but he takes out his blade and starts fighting with Frigga. She puts up a good fight, but Algrim comes to his aid and subdues her. Malekith walks toward Jane. You have taken something, child. Give it back. Malekith stands in front of Jane, and as he goes to grab her, she disappears and realizes that she's a hologram. Which? Where's Ether? I'll never tell. I believe you. Suddenly, Algrim stabs Frigga in the back. At the same time, Thor rushes in and shoots a lightning bolt at Malekith's face. Severely scarring it. He and the Algrim escape and jump onto their ship before Thor can catch them. After Malekith and Algrim escape, Odin arrives to find Frigga dead. She holds her body in his arms as Thor and Jane look on. A funeral is held for Frigga, where all the Asgardians mourn as her body is pushed into the sea on a boat and the boat burnt by flaming arrows. At the same time, Loki expresses his grief in a cell. Back on Earth, Eric has been institutionalized and is trying to explain the convergence. Patience does ward. The universe rotates on a 5,000-year cycle, and once it's cycled, all of the worlds align. He picks up a shoe and holds it up. Imagine this is our world. And one of the patients hands him another shoe. Oh, thank you. And this is another world. Normally they're separate, but during the alignment, everything's connected. All 9 realms. All 9 realms are passing through each other in gravity. Light, and even matter, is crunching from one world to another. He demonstrates with the shoes by smacking one on top of the other repeatedly. But if this happens to us now, the result will be cataclysmic. He then puts the shoes down, and picks up 2 pencils and holds them up. My gravimetric spikes can stabilize the focal point of the convergence. He puts the pencil down and picks up the shoes again. This time the alignment and all the other worlds would just pass up. It's beautiful. It's simple. Any questions? See the patients in the ward just carrying on with their activity. No one has taken any notice of them. One of the patients, Stanley, interrupts. Yeah. Can I have my shoe back? On their ship to Malekith. Algrim, I need your strength to reclaim the ether, and when you wake up, you will kill them all. In Asgard, Jane is sat in her room when suddenly the power of the ether surrounds her and everything around her turns red for a moment. Then Volstagg enters the room with 2 guards. The hell? How do you pronounce that? Einherjar. Einherjar. What? Einherjar. I'm gonna have to look that up. How the hell do you pronounce that? Einherjar.
Inherior, Norwegian.
Inherior.
Inherior, Norwegian.
Inherior. How does that look like? What? Okay. Inherior Lieutenant. Jane Foster. You need to come with us. Fandral and Odin expect the damage to the palace or Malekith had crashed his ship. We are still unable to restore the palace shields. Our artillery cannot detect them. Even Heimdall cannot see them. My king, we're all but defenseless. Thor approaches them. She's your prisoner now? Fandral will stagger near the guards. Leave us. They all start walking off and leave. Thor with Odin. I wish not to fight with you, nor I with you, but I intend to pursue Malekith. We possess the ether. Malekith will come to us. Yes, and you will destroy us. You overestimate the power of these creatures. No, I value our people's lives. I'll take Jane to the Dark World and draw the enemy away from Asgard. When Malekith pulls the ether from Jane, it will be exposed vulnerable. Then I will destroy it and him. If you fail, you risk this weapon into falling into the hands of our enemies. The risk is far greater if we do nothing. His ship can be over our heads right now and we'd never even know it. And when he comes, his men will fall by 10,000 Asgardian blades. And how of our men shall fall on theirs? As many as are needed. We will fight until the last Asgardian breath, the last drop of Asgardian blood. And how are you different from Malekith? The difference, my son, is that I will win. Back on Earth, Darcy paces around her apartment as Ian is sat watching the news on TV. Jane hasn't called me back. Eric isn't calling me back. Stupid Shield isn't calling me back. What Shield? It's a secret. Darcy leaves a voice message for Eric. Hey, Eric. It's Darcy again. The Thor came back. He took Jane to Asgard, and I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do. As Ian is watching news, they start reporting about Eric being arrested at Stonehenge. Something else went missing this week when astrophysicist Dr. Eric Selvig, notable for his involvement in the alien invasion in New York, streaked nude across Stonehenge. Darcy, you really needs to look at this. Friend Eric, what's his last name again? Darcy looks at the news report on TV, disrobed, and began shouting at the visitors in historic site. He was later taken into police custody for psychiatric evaluation. The police are still refusing to confirm. Ian presses the pause button on Eric's face from the footage taken at Stonehenge. Darcy sits in dismay as she looks at Eric's face on the TV. In Asgard, Thor sat alone when Heimdall walks up to him. You're not in Odin's war council? The Bifrosts are closed by your father's orders, No one is to come or go. Heimdall takes off his helmet and places it on the table. We face an enemy that is invisible even to me. Of what is in guardians such as that. He sits down looking defeated. Malekith will return. You know this. I'll need your help. I cannot overrule my king's wishes, not even for you. I'm not asking you to. The realms need their All-Father strong and unchallenged. Whether he is or not, but he is blinded, Heimdall by hatred and grief. As are we all. Will I see clearly enough? The risks are just too great. Everything that we do from here is on risk.
You're recording?
Malekith will return. You know this. I'll need your help. I cannot overrule my king's wishes, not even for you. I'm not asking you to. The realms need their All-Father strong and unchallenged, whether he is or not, but he is blinded, Heimdall, by hatred and by grief. As are we all. Will I see clearly enough? The risks are too great. Everything that we do from here on is a risk. There is no other way. Heimdall hesitates before replying. What do you require of me? What I'm about to ask you is treason of highest order. Success will bring us exile, and failure shall mean our death. Malekith knew the ether was here. He can sense its power, and we do nothing. If we do nothing, he will come for it again. But this time lay waste to all of Asgard. We see Thor holding a meeting with Sif, Fandral, Volstagg, and Heimdall. We must move Jane off the world. The Bifrost has been shut down and the Tesseract locked away in a vault. There are other paths of Asgard. There are other paths off Asgard. Ways known only to a few. One, actually. No. Thor walks up to Loki's cell where he's standing. Looking well kept and clean. Thor, after all this time, and now you come to visit me. Why? Have you come to gloat? To mock? Loki enough. No more illusions. Suddenly Loki's cell is transformed. The illusion is lifted, and now we see that Loki's cell is a mess. Everything has been thrown around, and he sat on the floor, looking unkempt and messy, in the corner of the cell. Now you see me, brother. Thor walks up to the other side of the cell to be closer to. Did she suffer? I did not come to share her grief. Instead, I offer you the trance of a far richer sacrament. Go on. I know you seek vengeance as much as I do. You help me escape Asgard, and I will grant it to you. Vengeance. And afterward, this cell. Loki chuckles. You must be truly desperate to come to me for help. What makes you think you can trust me? I don't. Mother did. You should know that when we fought each other in the past, I did so with a glimmer of hope that my brother was still in there somewhere. That hope no longer exists to protect you. You betray me, and I will kill you. Loki smiles. When do we start? Back to the meeting with Thor and comrades. He will betray you. He will try. This is so unlike you, brother. So clandestine. Are you sure you wouldn't just rather punch your way out? If you keep speaking, I just might. Fine, as you wish. I'm not even here. Using his diversion tactics, Loki turns himself into an Asgardian guard. Is this better? It's better company, at least. Still, we could be less conspicuous. Loki turns back into himself, but turns Thor into Sif. Brother, you look ravishing. Thor looks down at his body and replies in his own voice. You will hurt no less when I kill you in this form. Very well. Perhaps maybe one of your new companions, given that you seem to like them so much. Loki then turns himself into Captain America in costume. Oh, this is much better. Whoa, the costume's a bit much. So tight. But the confidence. I can feel the righteousness surging. Hey, want to have an arousing discussion about truth, honor, patriotism? God bless America. Suddenly, Thor grabs hold of Loki and puts his hand over his mouth and pushes him against the wall, making Loki turn back into himself. What? Thor looks to the side and they see two Asgardian guards walking away. You can at least furnish me with a weapon. My dagger. Something. Thor looks at him and we hear a noise. It's like a sword being drawn. At last, a little common sense. Loki then looks down, then holds up his hands, which now have iron handcuffs on them. And I thought you liked tricks. Thor laughs and turns to walk off, back at the original meeting. Thor was holding with his comrades. Well, what then? Your lovely mortal is being guarded by a legion of nurh. I forgot how to pronounce it. nurh. Wasn't it like that? nurh?
Inherior.
Freaking inherior. Okay. Well, what then? Your lovely mortal is being guarded by a legion of our inherior, who will see you coming from miles away. I won't be the one who comes for her. Thor looks over to Sif, and then we see Jane is sat in her guarded room. One of the guards enters. I'm not hungry. Suddenly Sif comes up behind the guard and knocks him out. She looks over to Jane. Good, let's go. Jane and Sif meet up with Thor with Loki standing beside him. Jane points to Loki. I'm Loki. You may have heard of. Suddenly Jane slaps Loki hard in the face. That was for New York. Loki smiles and looks at Thor. I like her. Back at Thor's meeting with his comrades. And what of the Allfather? It is my sworn duty to notify him of crimes against the throne. Odin visits Heimdall, accompanied by some of his guards. You called me here on an urgent matter. What is it? Treason, my lord. Whose? Mine. Heimdall draws his swords. At the same time, more guards interrupt them. Inherior, Lieutenant. My king, the mortal has been taken. Odin looks at Heimdall as he commands his guards. Stop Thor, by any means necessary. There they are. Take them. On my command. I'll hold them off. Take her. Thank you. Thor and Jane go off, as Loki goes to follow them. Sif draws her sword and places it under Loki's throat. Betray him, and I'll kill you. Loki chuckles. It's good to see you too, Sif. Loki leaves to join Thor and Jane as the guards get closer to Sif. Back at the original meeting with Thor and his comrades. Assuming you can get Loki's help, you can free this mortal. What good would it do? We'd all be dead the minute we step one foot outside the palace. That, my friend, is why we won't be leaving by foot. Thor, Loki... and Jane meet Volstagg, where Malekith's ship had crashed into the palace. I will give you as much time as I can. Thor and Volstagg do a forearm shake. Thank you, my friend. As they walk towards Malekith's crashed ship, Jane smiles and nods at Volstagg. Then, as Loki is about to follow Thor, and Jane Volstagg stops him. If you even think about betraying him, he'll kill me? Evidently, there will be a line. Volstagg then lets him pass. Thor, Jane, and Loki board Malekith's crashed ship. Thor looks at the controls and starts pressing some buttons, unsure of what he's doing. I thought you knew how to fly this thing. I said, how hard can it be? Meanwhile, Asgardian guards rush towards the ship with the Volstagg standing guard in front of it. They're on the ship. As they approach the ship, Volstagg starts attacking them. Back in the ship. Well, whatever you're doing, brother, I suggest you do it faster. Shut up, Loki. Outside the ship, Volstagg continues to battle with the Asgardian guards. Back in the ship, Thor continues to frantically press every button to start the ship. You must have missed something. No, I didn't. I'm pressing every button on this thing. No, don't hit it. Just press it gently as he hits the buttons. I am pressing it gently. It's not working. Suddenly the ship comes to life. Thor laughs. Outside the ship, Volstagg is overrun by guards. Get him, get him. Loki starts laughing as the ship starts to rise, hitting the columns of the palace. I think you missed a column. Shut up. Finally, the ship breaks through the palace walls and takes off as they're flying through Asgard. Look, why don't you let me take over? I'm clearly the better pilot. Is that right? Well, out of the two of us, which one actually can fly? As they are flying over Asgard, suddenly Jane collapses. Oh dear, is she dead? Jane raises her head, looking weak. I'm okay. As it continues to fly, the ship hits and breaks off part of a massive building. To Loki. Not a word. Now they're following us. Now they're firing at us. Yeah, thank you for the commentary, Loki. It's not at all distracting. The ship then hits a massive stone monument of King Bor, breaking the head off. Well done. You've just decapitated your grandfather. The smaller ships continue to fire at them as they fly over Asgard. You know, this is wonderful. A tremendous idea. Let's steal the biggest, most obvious ship in the universe and escape in that. Flying around the city, smashing into everything in sight so everyone can see us. It's brilliant, Thor. It's truly brilliant. Suddenly, Thor pushes Loki off the ship. Thor then picks up Jane and jumps off the flying ship and lands into a smaller ship, being flown by Frangel. Loki has also fallen onto the ship. I see your time in the dungeons has made you no less graceful, Loki. The Asgardian ships above them continue to follow and fire at Malekith's ship, as they think that Thor is still there. Thor lays Jane down. You lied to me. I'm impressed. I'm glad you're pleased. Now do as you promised. Take us to your secret pathway. Loki smiles and takes over the ship's control. At the same time, the Asgardian ships spot them and start firing at them. Fandral. Right. Fandral picks up a rope and steps onto the edge of the ship. For Asgard. Suddenly he jumps off the ship and uses a rope to swing onto the Asgardian ship, following them. Nothing personal, boys. He knocks out the 3 guards on the ship and looks over to Thor and salutes him. On Fandral's ship, Loki flies them towards the mountains. Thor. Loki. If it were easy, anyone would do it. Are you mad? Possibly. Thor holds on to Jane as Loki heads straight for the wall of the mountain. Suddenly they enter right through the mountain and enter through a portal of Svartalfheim. Ta-da! On their ship, Algrim approaches Malekith. We must attack now. No, Asgard is not important anymore. The Aether has returned home. As they fly over Svartalfheim, Jane continues to lie down and Thor puts a cover over her. What I could do with the power that flows through those veins. It would consume you. She's holding up alright for now. She's strong in ways you'd never even know. Say goodbye. Not this day. This day the next. 100 years. It's nothing. It's a heartbeat. You'll never be ready. The only woman whose loves you've prized will be snatched from you. And that will satisfy you? Satisfaction is not in my nature. Surrender is not in mine. The son of Odin. No, not just of Odin. You think you alone were loved by Mother? You had her tricks, but I had her trust. Trust. Was that her last expression? Trust. When you let her die. What help were you in your cell? Who put me in there? Who put me in there? Thor grabs hold of Loki. You know damn well. You don't damn well who. Thor raises his fist to punch Loki, but stops himself. She wouldn't want us to fight. Well, she wouldn't exactly be shocked. They both smile. I wish I could trust you. Thor turns his back to Loki. Trust my rage. Back on Earth, Darcy and Ian go to free Eric from the mental institution. What was it, an hour and 15 minutes? You'll have to sign for your father's belongings, Mr. Selvig. Ian looks distracted, and Darcy nudges him to bring him to attention. What? Oh yeah, my father, Dr. Eric Selvig. Ian goes to sign the form. 1. A man's leather wallet. Brown. 1 key ring with 3 keys. Prescription medicine. He places the wallet key ring with the keys and a plastic bag containing medicine bottles on the counter. Various. The officer then bends to pick up another item from behind the counter. At the same time, Darcy notices Eric being escorted towards them. Eric. And these. Yeah, those, thank goodness. As Eric comes toward Darcy. Eric. Yes? It's Darcy. Darcy. It's so good to see you. I miss you too. I miss you too. Darcy looks awkward as Eric continues to hold her tightly. How do you find me? You were naked on TV. Okay, time to go. Lots to do. Eric continues to hold her. Getting weird now. As they walk down the corridor of the mental institution with Ian holding Eric's gadgets, I should not be left in charge of stuff like this. I don't get paid enough. I don't get paid, period. Eric takes his bag of medicine from Ian. I'm Ian, by the way. Darcy's intern. I don't get paid either. Ian washes as Eric takes out a bottle of pills. Are you alright? I have had a god in my brain. I don't recommend it. As they step out the building, suddenly the gadget in Ian's arm starts to sweep. Dr. Selvig, your gear is beeping at me. It's happening. Sooner than calculated. Wait, what's happening? They look up to see a flock of birds flying above them. Birds? Birds are happening? They're starlings. It's called a murmuration. My dad used to take me bird watching as a kid. Eric? Look. Suddenly all of the birds fly in the same direction and they all suddenly disappear. Where'd they go? Suddenly, all the birds appear behind them, flying away, frantically making Darcy scream in terror. What the hell was that? Why are you smiling? There's nothing more reassuring than realizing the world is crazier than you are. He walks ahead and throws his bag of medicine to a garbage bin nearby. Take me to Jane's lab. Unsurprisingly, him. They continue flying their ship. Suddenly, Jane's eyes open. It's clear that the ether has taken her over. She rises and looks ahead. Ting. Jane. Malekith. After landing the ship, they walk over to watch Malekith and his men in the distance. Alright, are you ready? Jane nods her head. I am. They rise from their hiding spot and Malekith spots them, standing on a hill in the distance. You know this plan of yours is going to get us killed. Yeah, possibly. Loki holds up his shackled hands for Thor to uncuff him. You still don't trust me, brother. Would you? Thor takes off Loki's cuffs. No, I wouldn't. Suddenly Loki takes out a dagger, stabs Thor, and throws him down the hill. Thor, no. Malekith sees this and starts walking toward them. After stabbing Thor and throwing him down the hill, Loki walks over to Thor. You really think I cared about Frigga? About any of you? He kicks Thor in the stomach. All I ever wanted was you and Odin dead at my feet. Thor raises his hand, attempting to summon Mjolnir, but Loki cuts off his hand, making Thor scream out in pain. This is unfortunate. Jane rushes over to Thor, but Loki grabs her and turns to face Malekith and his dark elves. Malekith, I am Loki of Jotunheim, and I bring you a gift. He throws Jane at Malekith's feet. I ask only one thing in return. A good seat from which to watch Asgard burn. He is an enemy of Asgard. He was locked in a cell. Look at me. Thor. Loki, now. Loki used his diversion tactics to see that he had never amputated Thor's hand. Thor quickly summons Mjolnir and shoots lightning at the ether, attempting to destroy it. But he fails as Malekith is still able to absorb it and turns to leave on his ship. Two of the Dark Elves start attacking Thor, but he quickly takes them down. Algrim then throws one of the vortex weapons in the air. Loki pushes Jane away, and he is nearly sucked in when Thor pulls him out. Thor then attacks Algrim and then beats Thor down, and Thor goes over to them and kills Algrim from behind. Algrim slowly turns and suddenly pulls Loki from the blade that is sticking out from him. No. Algrim takes a step toward Loki. See you in hell, monster. Algrim then realizes he's attached to the blade in him by his own vortex weapon. It explodes before he can do anything, destroying him. Thor then rushes over to Loki. No, oh, you fool, you didn't listen. I know, I'm a fool. I'm a fool. Loki squirms in pain. Stay with me, okay? I'm sorry. It's okay. It's alright. I'll tell Father what you did here today. I didn't do it for him. No. He's gonna unleash it. Not just on Asgard or on a star. Malekith is gonna destroy everything. How, Jane? How? I saw him on Earth. Why would he go to Earth? The Convergence. Oh god, none of this would have happened if I hadn't found the ether. Then Malekith would have only possessed it that much sooner. I only found it because I was looking for you. Thor. Jane. He places his hand on her face. Now we're trapped here. It's not me. Suddenly they hear music playing. Jane realizes it's her phone. Takes it out of her pocket and answers it. Hello? Hi, Jane, it's Richard. Richard, where are you? I'm still in the office. It's been a crazy day here today. Jane puts him on speaker and holds up her phone. Oh my god, this is amazing. Is it? I quite enjoyed our lunch despite never actually ordering anything. How am I getting service here? Is this a bad time? Do you want me to try here? No, please. Whatever you do, do not hang up the phone. Okay then, I was just wondering if you want to try again, maybe during the next time? Yeah. Just stay on the phone, okay? Yeah, I will. Jen looks down and notices can and keys that were thrown from the abandoned factory. Oh my god. Jane picks up the keys from the floor of the cave. Am I interrupting something? No. Nothing at all. Realizing they can return to Earth, Jane turns to Thor. Come on. I'm losing you here. Are you in a tunnel? Thor starts hurling Jane. Where are we going? Richard. Hello? They start walking further into the cave. Thor notices the discarded shoes that were thrown through before the abandoned factory. Why are there so many shoes in here? As they walk further, suddenly they disappear. Back in his office, Richard loses Jane on the phone. I'll just text her. Jane, hey, you can't just leave like that. The whole world's going crazy. Thor hangs his hammer on the coat hanger next to the door. All the stuff we saw is spreading. She looks at Jane's guarding clothes and sees Wold. Did you go to a party? Jane notices Eric. Eric? Jane, how wonderful. He rises and goes to Jane as he embraces her, where we see he isn't wearing any pants. You've been to Asgard. Where are your pants? Oh, he says it helps him think. Okay, well, I'm going to need everything you got on this. All the work you've been doing on gravimetric anomalies. Everything. Okay. Are you well, Eric? Eric chuckles and his smile fades quickly. Your brother's not coming, is he? Loki is dead. Oh, thank God. I'm so sorry. Thank you. Eric then embraces Thor. Back on Svartheim, we see that an Harrier guard used the ship that brought Thor, Loki, and Jane onto the planet to return to Asgard. He goes to see Odin at the palace. Forgive me, my liege. I've returned from the dark world with news. Thor? There's no sign of Thor or the weapon, but he takes a step closer to Odin. What? We found a body. There's a moment's pause. Loki. Malekith is going to fire at the ether at a spot where all 9 worlds are connected. Amplifying the weapon's impact with each additional world, the power will increase exponentially. The effect would be universal. Yes, while the alignment is only temporary. He must be exactly at the right place at the right time. Well, do we know where that is? Follow the instructions. This has happened before, thousands of years ago, and the ancients were here to see it. How long I've been doing this for? An hour and 35 minutes, and I've been here for an hour and 35 minutes, and I'm 28 pages out of 41. This is wrong. Eric places a map of the British Isles on the coffee table. All the reconstructions, the Mayas, the Chinese, the Egyptians, they all made use of the gravitational effects of the convergence, and they left us a map. He starts drawing on the map. Stonehenge, Snowdon, the Great Orm. These are all coordinates taking us here. He points to the Greenwich on the map. Greenwich? The walls between worlds will almost be non-existent. Physics is gonna go ballistic. Increase and decrease in gravity, spatial extrusions. The very fabric of reality is gonna be torn apart. Thor summons Mjolnir, and it shoots over to Thor's hand from where it was hanging on the coat hanger. I better grab my pants. Focus, this is important. We have to hammer them and all. will around the site, and then Jane and Eric will activate them from the counter. They're taped together. Do you even know what these things do? No, neither do I. Darcy and Ian start placing Eric's gadgets around the library grounds. Come on, come on. Fine. Suddenly, Malekith's giant ship appears on the river Thames near the library grounds. Holy shit. The ship starts moving forward around and crashing through the library grounds, causing pandemonium until it finally stops in the middle of the grounds. Malekith and his Dark Elves step off the ship, and at the same time, Thor flies in and lands in front of Malekith. You needn't have come so far, as Guardian. Death would have come to you soon enough. Not by your hand. Your universe was never meant to be. Your world and your family will be extinguished. Malekith uses the power of the ether to attack Thor, but manages to narrowly miss getting hit by it. Inside the library setting, Eric, we're running out of time. Jane, almost there. Are you sure this is going to work? These devices were made to detect anomalies, not cause them. Oh, come on. Jane looks out and sees Thor and Malekith battling it out. Come on, Darcy. You know, with all that power, I thought you'd hit harder. As Malekith is using the ether to shield himself, suddenly Thor throws his hammer at him, which causes Malekith to cross the ground and smashes him against the library building. At the same time, Jane sees Darcy and Ian placing the last of Eric's device on the ground. Done. Darcy gives him the OK sign to Jane, and Jane rushes back to Eric. The convergence will be in full effect in 7 minutes. And that just means we'll have to keep Malekith busy for 8. Okay, you might want to hold on to something. It turns on the device. He turns on the device. Jane gets the device ready. Okay, you might want to hold on to something. She turns on the device, and suddenly, some of the Dark Elves suddenly disappear. Darcy and Ian watch this nearby. Darcy talks to Jane on her phone. That's awesome. How do you do that? Well, gravitational fields interact with the weak spot between worlds, creating. Oh, there's a guy with a sword. Jane uses the device again to make the Dark Elf disappear, but instead she actually makes Darcy and Ian disappear. Oops. Let's go. Darcy and Ian appear in another part of London. What the hell just happened? Suddenly the Dark Elves had also disappeared. Appear and fall into a parked car. Move. Darcy grabs hold of Ian's hand, and they run off as the Dark Elf. Ooh, wee woo, wee woo. 11 pages left. Grabs hold of Ian's hand as they run off the Dark Elves. What are you doing? You need to get out of there now. You're joking, right? That's Thor out there waving his hammer around and everything. He uses his phone to record the battle outside. In their ensuing fight, Thor and Malekith are transported through the realms into Svartalfheim and London continuously. At the same time, a fighter jet flies towards Malekith's ship. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Confirming ship is hostile. Confirm, the ship is hostile. You have permission to engage. Roger. The missile's locked. The missile's on its way. The pilot releases the missile. Missile off target. I repeat. Mayday, I'm losing control. Mayday, mayday, I'm losing control. The jet is then transported to Valheim. As I run toward the library ground. What are you doing? My signal has lost connection. Jane, come on. Are you alright? You saved my life. Yeah, yes I did. Darcy? Jane? Ian? Selvig? Darcy? Meow meow. Oh, meow meow. Mjolnir. Ha. Funny. Man over the speakers. Mind the gap. Thor turns to one of the passengers on the underground train that's just arrived. How do I get to Greenwich? Take this train. 3 stops. Ooh, 10 pages left. 3 pages left. 10 pages left. How do I get onto Greenwich? Take this train. 3 stops. Mind the gap. As train starts to move, the movement causes the woman to fall against Thor, and she stops herself by placing her hand on his chest. Sorry. We're out of time. Jane. Thor, we're too late. The convergence is at its peak. Can those things not stop him? Not from here. Can those things stop him? Not from here. We can't get close enough. I can. Malekith. Malekith turns to face Thor. Darkness returns, Asgardian. You have come to witness the end of your universe. I've come to accept your surrender. Thor throws one of Eric's gadget spirits at Malekith and he catches it. Jin uses the gravimetric, which makes his arm disappear, and we see it transported to Svartalheim. Thor throws the other spear at Malekith, and he catches it and his other arm disappears. You think you can stop this? The Aether cannot be destroyed, but you can. Thor summons Mjolnir, and at the same time he rushes towards Malekith. As he grabs his hammer, he uses it to throw Malekith into a ship, and Jane is able to use her device to transport him. After Thor kills Malekith, Jane finds Thor and finds him lying on the ground. Suddenly, Malekith's ship starts to crumble. Jane crushes him with unconscious Thor. Thor, no. Jane. Everybody okay? He's gonna come back. Except, last time he was gone for like 2 years. Well, it's only been 2 days, so. Did he say anything before he left? Yeah, he had to figure some stuff with his father. He kind of committed treason. On our way out, Jane looks away and carries on eating her breakfast. Oh. On Asgard, Thor meets with Odin at the palace. You said there would never be a wiser king than me. You were wrong. The alignment has brought all the realms together. Every one of them saw you offer your life to save them. What can Asgard offer its new king in return? My life, father. I cannot be king of Asgard. I will protect Asgard and all of the realms with my last and every breath. But I cannot do so from that chair. Loki, for all of his grave imbalance, understood rule as I know. I never will. The brutality, the sacrifice, it changes you. I'd rather be a good man than a great king. But is this my son I hear, or the woman he loves? When you speak, do I never hear mother's voice? This is not for Jane, father. She does not know what I have come here to say. Now forbid me to see her or say anything she can will at my side. It changes nothing. One son who wanted the throne too much, another who will not take it. Is this my legacy? Loki died with honor. I'll try to live the same. Is not that legacy enough? Odin nods his head. Thor then holds up Mjolnir to offer it back to Odin. It belongs to you. You are worthy of it. I'll try to be. I cannot give you my blessing, nor I can wish you good fortune. I know. Thor turns to leave. If I were proud of the man my son had become, even that I could not say. It would speak only from my heart. Go, my son. Thank you, father. He turns and starts walking off as Odin watches Thor walk off. Odin's form and transforms to reveal Loki. No, thank you. Here we get the mid-credit scene. Post-credit scene. I'm gonna fix that. What the hell is a mid-credit scene? Post-credit scene. There we go. Sif and Volstagg are taken to meet the Collector. I present to you Tenlir Tavan, the Collector. Whoa, as guardians, it's an honor. He blows theatrically. You know why we're here, of course. But if I may ask, why not keep it secure in your own vault? The Tesseract is already on Asgard. It is not wise to keep two Infinity Stones so close together. That's very wise. Sif hands over the ether, the Collector. I can assure you, it will be absolutely safe in my collection. See that it is. The Collector bows his head. Sif and Volstagg turn to leave. The Collector. 1 down, 5 to go. We get the after credits scene. What the hell is this dude talking about? The in the hell is an after credit scene. It's called an end credit scene. There we go. At her apartment, Jane, Eric, Darcy, and Ian hear the sounds of thunder. Jane looks out and smiles as she sees lightning. Jane walks out onto her balcony as Thor appears. They embrace and start kissing passionately. At the same time, we see the beast transfer from Jotunheim running amok the abandoned factory. And there we go, the movie's done. 1 hour and 50 minutes. So, yeah, good movie. Definitely boring script to read. But, good news is, now I have this out of the way. And I can read Winter Soldier tomorrow. I'm gonna watch the movie again to like refresh myself on it. And this is probably like my worst credits reading video. Like I kept like falling asleep, just checking my phone. But I'll try not to do that next video. And yeah, bye.